I'm at the point where I don't even think SmackDown is capable of producing a good show anymore. Like, seriously speaking, some of you who are watching this probably thought this was a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Personally, I'll never know why. But in my opinion, what I watched for 2 hours on Fox tonight, it's just more of this same nothing TV, more rinse and repeat. Nothing notable happens on this show, which that's like the main kind of issue I have with it. Because as someone who reviews these shows for content, I want notable. I want stuff that I can really sink my teeth into and have a strong opinion over. But this, it's just like, they do stuff, it's just the same thing every week. It's like, nothing really gets furthered of note. Granted, tonight, Jeff Hardy came back, even though he, quote-unquote, came back 6 or 7 weeks ago and had a match with Corbin. Like, hello? So, there was the Jeff Hardy thing. As you just saw on the screen, Strowman and Wyatt had like a face-to-face. But that really accomplished nothing. What else was there? There was an 8-man tag match that went for basically 30 minutes. Mandy and Sonya Deville had like a good match. That was the most entertaining part of the whole show. Lacey and Tamina versus Bayley and Sasha Banks. And you might be thinking, but we've seen that match so many times, I swear. Yeah, basically. I said in last week's SmackDown review, I'll say it again. The SmackDown Women's Division is Bayley and Sasha versus Lacey and either Naomi or Tamina. And it's been that way for 4 months. Okay, this show's just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Even this main event, the 6-man tag match, Corbin, Nakamura, Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, and a mystery partner. Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? Oh, I wonder who the partner's gonna be. So, basically, I'm just gonna say this now, because I don't think any of you guys really care. Literally, Daniel Bryan and Gulak, like halfway through the show, were just talking to Otis. It's like, hey, do you want to be the mystery partner? And I was thinking to myself, okay, they'll do basic grade D pro wrestling booking. Corbin, Nakamura, Cesaro, they'll beat up they'll beat up Otis, take Otis out, and then they'll come out and cut a heel promo saying, oh, you don't have a partner because we took out the guy who's going to be your partner. Ha ha ha. Classic heel pro wrestling. And then Daniel Bryan and Gulak would be like, no, Baron Corbin, we have a mystery partner, his name's Elias. And then Elias' music would hit, Elias would come out, Corbin would do that fake shock face of, oh my god. But instead they just had Otis be the partner, and then there was like a 20-minute 6-man tag in the main event. It felt like Teddy Long booked this show. There were 3 multi-man matches that went for a combined over half the show. Like, who gives a damn? So, this is the SmackDown show we've got for the go-home to Money in the Bank. Okay, I don't even want to watch Money in the Bank at this point. Because we literally saw the SmackDown tag title match tonight. They literally just gave it to us, pretty much. We've seen Tamina pin the women's champion, because Tamina pinned Bayley tonight for some reason. Braun Strowman is facing Mr. Rogers, Bray Wyatt, so Braun Strowman's just going to win. And that's literally it. That is just Friday Night SmackDown under Bruce, dude. Oh my god, come on. Give us a good show, please. Please. That's all I ask. I'm so sick. I and everyone who watches this who has more than 2 brain cells rubbed together is sick of watching filth. Okay? We're sick of it. And unlike the cretins on social media who respond to, oh, how excited are you for SmackDown tonight on a scale of 1 to 10? These people who respond with 7s and 8s, those cretins who I'm going to roast in my Roasting Wrestling Twitter video tomorrow, those people just love the show. I don't know how. Me personally, it's just exhausting. So, without further ado, I'm going to get into the review. My notes for this, once again, is going to be my Twitter feed, which I personally find tweeting during the show enjoyable. You guys engage with my tweets pretty well. You guys like, when I tweet along. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go off my Twitter feed. Basically, before we get the Are You Ready for a Good Time, theme to open the show, we see Otis and Mandy talking backstage, and then we see Sonya Deville talking to Dolph Ziggler. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, interesting. What are we going to do with this? Then we go to, Are You Ready for a Good Time? I just want to turn the show off immediately. So we get our intro. Michael Cole and Corey Graves welcome us into SmackDown in the PC. Then we get Mandy Rose coming out to face Sonya Deville in the opener. I'm thinking to myself, this is good. An opening match featuring the best storyline in the WWE at the moment. Okay, I tweeted out that what they're doing right here, Mandy and Sonya, is better than anything we're going to see on Sunday. okay, as far as storytelling and a reason to care. So Mandy and Sonya, they had their match, goes about 5 minutes, some good stuff in there. Sonya beating down Mandy Rose, talking trash at her, yelling at her. Then they go to ringside, Mandy throws Sonya over the announce table, just yelling at her. They get back into the ring, bit more back and forth. In the end, Sonya Deville, roll up of death, 1, 2, 3. So Sonya beats Mandy. That was good. That was good stuff. The first 10 minutes of SmackDown were good. I enjoyed them, okay? I would have, if I had one gripe, I want to say Mandy and Sonya could have gone a bit longer, but they're clearly saving that for Mandy and Otis versus Sonya and Dolph sometime. So that was cool. And then they proceed to do what SmackDown always does and ruin it. We got this match, 8-man tag team match, where Bruce Pritchard literally, he was like I can picture this. I tweeted this out. I'll just get it up now. So I tweeted out, this is what probably happened backstage in the creative meeting for this show. Vince McMahon was probably like, Bruce, what are we doing with the tag teams on the go-home show to Money in the Bank? And then Bruce would have said, Vince, why don't we throw them all in the ring in an 8-man tag team match? And then Vince would have been like, oh, Bruce, I love it. So we proceed to get this 8-man tag team match. If you want a move-by-move review, you're not getting on this channel. This went through like 2 commercials. The only thing I was really thinking during it was, well, 2 things. One, why are they literally giving us the pay-per-view match on the SmackDown before? Because this is literally the pay-per-view match. All 8 guys just in a match together. That's what the pay-per-view match is, and we got that tonight. Additionally, another thing, why is Jackson Riker, who, if you saw my What If the Elitists Took Over WWE video, who Jackson Riker I used in like the corporate, or not the corporate, just the ministry with Bray Wyatt, I had Jackson Riker in such a prominent role. WWE choose to have Jackson Riker, who's super legit, credible, looks like he could beat you up, he looks like a legit, credible wrestler. They have him just be a cornerman, just clapping, as Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake. Wesley Blake literally looks like Joey Janela. He looks like he hasn't been to the gym in months. So, then he's just clapping for these 2 former military guys or something. What are the Forgotten Sons? They're just military guys? Like, they give us no reason to care. In the end, The Miz, John Morrison, and the Forgotten Sons got the win. So, in other words, the New Day are going to retain the titles on Sunday. That's all I took out of that. From here, I went and watched the Beverly Hillbillies for a bit because I don't really care. Then, we proceeded to literally get Baron Corbin backstage getting interviewed. He's just talking about throwing people off the roof. And I said, look, Sunday night, my prediction, I expect Baron Corbin or someone will throw Rey Mysterio off the roof. They'll do it similarly to the Baron Corbin Elias thing they did on SmackDown on the balcony like 5 weeks ago. So someone will go flying off the thingamajig, the roof of WWE headquarters, and they'll have Kevin Dunn edit like 8 different camera changes, and then Rey Mysterio will be dead. They'll probably do something like that to write Rey Mysterio off TV. So that's my prediction there. Then we got this like WWE PR video package, whatever. Then we got the long-awaited return of Jeff Hardy, which he came out and he didn't have his No More Words theme song, which everyone on Twitter was like complaining about. I'm like, I just don't care. Jeff Hardy's Jeff Hardy. He's returning, even though he returned 5 weeks ago. Anyway, he's basically just saying that, oh, well, I thought Sheamus would come out here. And then Sheamus comes out and is like, you have drug problems, you have problems, I take out SmackDown losers. And I'm thinking to myself, you've been beating Denzel Mustard and Leon Ruff for like 6 weeks. Who cares? So then Sheamus rushes Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy hits him with a swanton. Jeff Hardy stands tall. Michael Cole's yelling that Sheamus was embarrassed. All right, it's like, it'll do. So we went from the Jeff Hardy segment, which was all right, that wasn't bad, but it was just like, it was whatever. Then we go to an ad for WWE showing the best ladder matches of all time, featuring some of the best, greatest all-time superstars. So we get an ad for that, and literally we get this visual oxymoron of, so it says all-time greats in the dangerous ladder match, as we see Alexa Bliss holding up a Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm thinking to myself, she took maybe 1 bump in that whole Money in the Bank ladder match, if not none. So Alexa Bliss, who's apparently an all-time great per this video package, which that makes me want to throw up in itself, she's holding the briefcase, and it's just an assault on all senses. So from there, we get an ad for Undertaker's Last Ride documentary. That will be pretty much better than anything we see in WWE, even though most of the documentary, the 5-part series, is just going to be Undertaker saying, look, I want to go out on the right foot, and he's just, having his surgeries and whatnot as he's crying in his hospital bed with Michelle McCool. That's what it'll be. It'll still be better than anything we've seen on Raw or SmackDown, though, so I'm looking forward to it. Then, we get the Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman face-to-face. I don't even have much to say here, but basically, all I thought during this was, they're going to have Braun Strowman beat Bray Wyatt on Sunday as like Mr. Rogers, and then they're going to continue this and have Bray Wyatt say, well, I wasn't the Fiend, and now I'm going to harness the Fiend, and I'm going to beat you. And then the Fiend's going to beat Braun Strowman in 5 weeks at Backlash. That's what I assume is going to happen, and probably will. So that's what we got there. That segment was whatever. I'm just bored of Braun Strowman as champion. I really am. So from there, we get Bayley and Sasha versus Lacey and Tamina. I proceeded to change the channel and watch some Judge Judy. I just don't give a damn. So after like 15 minutes of Judge Judy yelling at 2 guys, I proceeded to turn over and see Tamina pin Bayley, who's the women's champion. Yeah, brilliant. Just, you see why Sasha Banks and Bayley are just, they feel so worthless. Outside of the pay-per-views, they never win. I hate how they book the women, especially when they're like heels, and it's like Bayley and Sasha. Outside of the Royal Rumble and that WrestleMania match, like Bayley hasn't really literally won a match in like 6 months outside of those, but whatever. Tamina pins Bayley. Bayley will beat Tamina on Sunday. Who really gives a damn? Like, are you going to give Tamina the women's title? I mean, I'm sure Wrestling Mixtape would love that, but I wouldn't. So, yeah, that's what we got there. Then, I mean, I was just defeated by that point. I tweeted out during that women's tag match, a match like this one takes a mediocre SmackDown down to a piss-poor show. This is excruciating to watch, and Tamina, of course, pins the champion. So, we got that. Then I was thinking to myself, so they showed Sasha Banks laid out at ringside looking all like defeated. I was thinking to myself, what's the bet she's just thinking, I wish I went to AEW. Why did I re-sign? So anyway, it's just some little notes I have. Then, I mean, literally what happened then? Yeah, we got literally Corey Graves telling us about climbing the corporate ladder, how the risk is worth the reward, how it's the most unique Money in the Bank match ever, how WWE superstars will start on the bottom floor and go up to the top where they'll be on the roof to grab the briefcase. We got told about this for 5 more minutes. Then we go backstage to Carmella and Dana Brooke, and they cut 2 horribly scripted promos. 2 awfully scripted promos. Dana Brooke's like, the risk will be worth the reward. And then Carmella's like, it's the most unique Money in the Bank ladder match ever. And I won the Money in the Bank match 2 times. And I'm fabulous. You see what I mean? Just these scripted verbatim promos. No one cares when they're cutting them. I literally tweeted out that the doll which Kenny Omega infamously wrestled has more in-ring ability than Dana Brooke and Carmella combined. So that's what we got there. Then, I mean, what did we even get? We got Baron Corbin, Cesaro, Nakamura coming out, like an ad break, Daniel Bryan, Gulak coming out. I'm thinking to myself, okay, are they going to do anything? No, Otis was a 6th man. They had the main event tag match, and I honestly just watched this. I can't even remember who won. I cannot remember who won, and I just watched this. That's how little I cared. So that was your go-home show, SmackDown for Money in the Bank. Do I feel more excited for SmackDown, more excited for Money in the Bank after seeing that show? No. Did this show do anything to make me care about Money in the Bank more? No. Should you go out of your way to watch this SmackDown if you didn't? No. So you get my point. This show was a redundant, rinse and repeat waste of time. Nothing on it's worth watching. Okay. Once again, I don't know what I'm going to title this review, but I guess I'll have to find something. So, like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. See ya.